Passion projects. We all have them to some extent. Some people like to build stuff or paint in their spare time, while me, I enjoy making YouTube content. As for Hugh Jackman, Mr. Wolverine himself, apparently he has a thing for bringing P.T. Barnum to the big screen, seeing as how he stuck to the project idea for 8 years before he finally got the chance to portray the man in last December's historical drama musical, The Greatest Showman. Though it did take me some time to get to, here I am to discuss the film for anyone who hasn't seen it yet and wants to know more. When it comes to plot, the story is pretty straightforward and easy to follow. With his wife and 2 daughters, Phineas Taylor Barnum lives a happy, humble life in New York City, but of course, wishes for something more. Upon being let go from a dreary job that he clearly hated working anyway, we watch Barnum decide to go all in to try and create something spectacular. While the wax museum he opens up in the heart of New York City isn't very successful, he soon decides to showcase live performances. Gathering together with people with special talents as well as those with physical abnormalities, his troupe becomes a must-see for a large crowd. Sure, the troupe has people that protest them, and one critic even causes Barnum to rename his show Barnum's Circus to spite him, but The Greatest Showman always finds a way to turn things in his favor and continue to grow his venture's popularity. However, breakthrough success doesn't mean that all problems are over, and the rest of the movie showcases the ups and downs of trying to get Barnum's Circus off the ground, as well as the struggles of the people who are a part of it. For Barnum's partner, Philip Carlyle, and trapeze artist Ann Wheeler, struggle comes from their mixed-race romance in a time where it is seen as taboo. For the eccentric people that make up the sideshows, such as the Bearded Lady, Siamese Twins, Giant, etc., struggle comes from society seeing them as nothing but freaks, and they feeling they don't belong among the upper class that Barnum becomes acquainted with. As for P.T. Barnum himself, he comes to struggle with letting fame get to his head and almost becoming addicted to all the attention. Though the fate of the circus is jeopardized by all these issues, spoiler alert, except not really if you know about the real world, by the end, all of these issues are resolved, thereby setting the stage for the circus we know and love to operate for the next 146 years. Roll credits. So, let's start with what the film does right. For one, the music and choreography is phenomenal. Whenever there is a song on, you will find yourself drawn in and amazed with all the things going on screen. For instance, there is a scene where Hugh Jackman's character is singing as Zac Efron's character at a bar, and as they sing back and forth, they are also moving all around the establishment and drinking, while the bartender serves drinks and cleans up after them, all in time with the song. That's right, everything from the bartender putting down drinks to wiping down tables to the movements of the 2 men as they climb up and down chairs and across the bar and whatever. Everything is in time with the music. There are all sorts of cool scenes like this where the music and moves come together perfectly. Speaking of Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron, by the way, I thought the casting in this film was really strong, with everyone involved bringing their A-game. This is of course no small feat, since not only do all the characters have to sing, but they have to believably portray their struggles to us in a way that makes us care. However, I felt the emotion was there and want to give kudos to the cast. Another thing I liked was how the movie manages to make you care about a circus of all things. It sounds funny for a movie about the creation of a circus to have emotion and fill you with awe, but the movie is made in such a way that you can't help but feel impressed with everything and rooting for Barnum and co to pull it off. On the flip side of that, however, come the negative things I found about the film. First of all, the story is easy to follow to the point of it being a little too easy. While I get that you can't really throw in big twists or reveals and something based on real life, I just felt like it was always predictable what was going to happen next or what the characters are going to do at all times. Like seriously, everything felt super televised ahead of time, and not once was I pleasantly surprised with something unexpected. Tying in with being predictable, I also felt the film engaged in a lot of cliches. From the father that is too busy at work to spend time with his family, to the whole being overcome with the spotlight and leaving your friends behind thing, I felt the story was very formulaic. Finally, the whole thing feels a little too sugar-coated. But I don't mean that it feels like it is trying a little too hard to paint P.T. Barnum and his circus in the best light. While the circus was indeed full of performances that filled one with awe, don't forget that this is the place that also got accused of being exploitative and got in trouble for animal abuse. As for Mr. Barnum, well, he didn't exactly have that whole Hugh Jackman look going for him and was fond of stretching the truth if it would make him money. So yeah, not as inspiring as the movie would lead you to believe. So, where does that leave us? Should you watch the movie or not? As always, the choice is up to each of you based on what I've thrown out there. When it comes down to me recommending it, I say yes. Sure, it has flaws, like a very simple story, and the fact that it glamorizes something that perhaps isn't very glamorous, but I'd recommend it based on the fact that the music is great, the story is very feel-good, and the fact that it filled me with some of that same wonder that I felt when I went to the circus as a kid all those years ago. With the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus having just shut down last May, and from here on out just becoming something lost to time, why not enjoy a fun musical about it? But hey, that's just my opinion. And remember, don't take anything I say too seriously. After all, I'm just a wannabe reviewer. Thanks for watching.